It's a 89, 560, just meaning it's got the V8. It's got, I don't know, a little bit, like 120,000 on it. So we don't work on these ever, so like we don't really have a lot of special tools for this. Yeah, so there's an oil level sensor inside the pan, and it pokes out of the pan to plug into the engine harness. It's got an O-ring on the inside and an O-ring on the outside, and it's leaking. I've told him about it a while back. It's not even really, you get a good view of it. It's not really that severe. He is getting oil drips on the ground. So that's like the part of it that's outside. So I have to take the pan off to even get it out. You got to remove the subframe, which I'm a little freaked out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never done this on this car, so. Actually, I looked this up last night, like kind of what these go for right now. This car's probably worth about 25,000. Pull up to the Benz Shop. And this is more original parts-wise than any of the ones I saw on like Bring a Trailer, just all the used car sales places. This was the most genuine one I've seen outside of the other ones that I've looked at last night. Still a very valuable car, it's just a lot of stuff's discontinued. It needs a timing chain. They don't make it anymore. That's kind of the issue of when they get older, is they're not obligated to continue to make parts for them. Kind of in a weird pickle, so we're just fixing as much stuff as we can with the parts that are still available, whether it's, you know, a genuine part or something from the aftermarket, but we're trying. We'll start soaking hardware with penetrant oils and stuff before you touch anything. So like even like last night I went through before I went home and just sprayed all these bolts that I'm gonna be touching. And you also need to be like, you need to be smart. So the repair instructions say to remove these arms, but like these bushings are old and he can't afford to be doing them right now. So it's like, I'm going about this repair a little bit differently than the way the repair instructions go, so I don't have to disturb these things and make something worse or break it all the way to where it's like, now we have to, like we have no choice. So you have to be diligent, and you have to go about this in a way so you're not causing further damage. You definitely need to be very diligent on old cars, like that way. Sometimes you can't do the way it wants you to do it, and you gotta come up with your own route to get the car repaired. Oof, don't break. 36-year-old bolts, I'm scared everything's gonna break on me. I've been soaking them since yesterday with penetrant oil to free up all this stuff so I don't snap anything. Ooh, that one felt good. There is a big conversation with the customer about the expectation on doing restorations, because there's no doubt as we dig into these old cars, something's gonna break, or we're gonna find something broken. Disassembling the subframe and suspension, and I found a really bad failed ball joint. It's very expensive. So I had to take out the coil springs. This is called McPherson style suspension, where you have a coil independent from the shock, because nowadays the shock and the coil are one piece. Basically, you have to unload the suspension safely to take the tension off the spring to get the spring out. And I found that this ball joint here, I don't know if I'll be able to do it right here, but that ball joint's failed, right? This is something I find along the repair. We'll get a price quote and figure out how much it cost. I was blown away. So a really crappy part, or a low-end part, is $500, and then it retails for like $1,200. And we were just like, oh my God. So we got a quote from the dealer on these, $1,800 a piece. So we had to call a customer, let him know, and he's just like, yeah, I can't do that. And we're like, yeah, that makes sense. That's ridiculously priced. So it's weird, like they'll still make the arm, but they don't make the timing chain anymore. It's kind of odd, just the decision a lot of these companies make. And it's just metal. It's nothing really fancy to it, just like any other upper control arm. It sucks because I want to fix it, but I agree with the customers, like that price is outrageous. And you really have to decide on what makes sense to repair and not to. This customer's been coming to the shop even before I worked here. He trusts us, he listens to us, and we advise him the best way we can. This we can't do anymore because they don't make it, but we could do these things. And I'm also doing a repair on the engine. It's idling really high, and it's got a bunch of vacuum leaks, and I'm really only able to get my hands on about 50% of the parts. And some of the ones I'm doing, it will make a big difference in the way it's idling. There's just not a lot of options left for him. So sometimes I gotta get a little creative and you know, maybe make custom vacuum lines that they don't produce anymore, or I'll have to remove some parts and basically reseal them with either sealant, RTV, adhesives. So we kind of have to think outside the box sometimes, but it's just because of what's available in the market, you know. Oh, I'm so happy these are coming out nice. I was thinking about this last night before I went to bed. I was like, oh man, I hope these bolts come out. It's really not that rusty like I expected, at least thread-wise, but obviously you could tell the bottom, but this is all just in road debris all the time and in the weather. So this radiator is a genuine. I did that, I don't know, maybe 8 months ago. And that was like a $1,200 radiator, which is pretty wild because, you know, you'd expect, I don't know, $300-400 for a radiator. But when I got here, the first time I worked on this car, the conversation with the owner and the rider was like, he is slowly restoring this car back to health. And a lot of repairs were done before I got here, a lot of on the bigger systems like differential, transmission and whatnot. So he's just basically bringing this car back into like a restoration state. To just be reliable to him. Since I've taken over, we've done a bunch of stuff, ignition related, or just so it was running poorly, idling, or like it was misfiring and whatnot. I had a lot of oil leaks, just been knocking little things out that fit his budget. And this repair I'm doing today, I want to say about a year ago is when I started to see it seeping. We are gonna start doing kind of the bigger stuff now. So the bigger oil leak repairs. He wanted to knock out the larger repair first, so we're doing that now. It's exciting. It's just a little. It's different. This is this car's 36 years old. There's a lot of stuff I've never seen before, but it's kind of interesting. When you see this V8 and you look at the current V8s and kind of everything in between, you really get to kind of see the growth that these companies go through, upgrade the engines and the emissions, you know, as we go throughout all these years. I definitely see bits of the new stuff on here, just different, you know, systems they've either gotten away from or stuff they've added. So it's pretty sweet. This sensor, that's the wheel speed sensor, somebody else misrouted it and it was getting rubbed on by the wheel. And I quoted a new sensor, but he declined it. But I am gonna change the routing and stop it from getting further damaged. So it's like, I'm you know, that's the thing is I'm gonna help him. Although that doesn't mean that it being rubbed on is not gonna cause a failure at some point later on, but I'm gonna try to mitigate as much stuff as I can. If we find something that's misrouted or wrong or missing a hardware or something, we put it on, but because this is just what happens. This is old car stuff. And there's a lot of shops that are unwilling to do it. And you know, don't get me wrong, there has been customers with these cars that come in that were like, we're not working on that because it's too far gone. And it's been, you know, they'll say like, this has been to 10 other shops and you could just see everything's misrouted or just poor quality parts or poor installation. So there's sometimes where we won't do it just because, and it is in the best interest of the customer. Like, hey, this is not worth it. This one's too far gone. So that's happened, not all the time, but it has happened. Another shop I worked at, they would kind of push a lot of the old stuff out. They wouldn't take it at all, which kind of sucks, I think, because, you know, customers who are willing to spend the money, they want to fix their car, you know? Pull up to the Benz Shop.